Yo makuliwe, makuliwe, makuliwe. Yo makuliwe, 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 Yo makuliwe, makuliwe, makuliwe. Yo makuliwe, 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 makuliwe. So guys, I don't know if you are aware of it or what, but South Africans on the internet, they are actually flirting with an idea of a national shutdown. People are saying, we are sick and tired of Cyril Ramaphosa. We are sick and tired of the incompetency of Cyril Ramaphosa's administration. As South Africans, we are not going to sit down and actually allow Ramaphosa to destroy this country. We are going to take it to the streets. This is what South Africans are saying on the internet. South Africans are saying it's high time that we have a national shutdown and actually send this man packing. Because if we are going to wait for 3 or 4 years before Ramaphosa actually finishes off his term, we will not have the country anymore. This is what people are saying on the internet, and this is what people are saying on the streets, that enough is enough. We are sick and tired of what the ANC is actually doing to this country. The country has literally collapsed under the ANC. Everything is a mess in this country because of the ANC. We are not going to single out one issue because of the ANC. We are going to look at everything in the country right now and say all of these things that are actually happening in this country, they are happening under the ANC. And the people say enough is enough. Guys, people are talking about the national shutdown, and apparently this national shutdown is supposed to start on Monday. And the South African government, as always, is already threatening South Africans by telling South Africans that, guys, you must not even think of going to the streets, because if you go to the streets, we are going to unleash the police on you. And I think this is one of the things that is actually making people more angry. The fact that Ramaphosa's administration is basically doing nothing about the people that are destroying the country. Ramaphosa's administration is doing nothing about the fact that people have been slaughtered in the streets. People are looking at their children and they are looking at the type of education that their children are getting. People are looking at the infrastructure and the fact that they are losing the family members on the streets because of the potholes. People are looking at the fact that children are still dying in the pit toilets today. Over 100 people are actually slaughtered in the streets every day. Women are being raped every day. Children are being abducted every day. South Africa is a mess, and it seems like people are sick and tired, and people are saying enough is enough. Oh man. Oh man. We have been waiting for the longest of times for times like this. Me personally, I don't want to lie. I am actually happy that this is something that people are now starting to talk about. I know that even on Monday, we might not see this huge national shutdown that people are actually thinking about whenever the word shutdown is actually mentioned. But the fact that South Africans are actually starting to say, we are not going to tolerate this anymore, I am happy. I am happy. It is time for the people to actually take their country back. And South Africans must actually not allow this administration to basically threaten them and actually make them feel scared for actually going to the streets, because this is basically what they are trying to do. So yesterday, I actually saw a post on the internet by South African government itself, and I am going to read what the South African government has actually said and actually warned the people of this country that if you dare try to go to the streets, this is what we are going to do. We are not going to do anything about the people that are jumping the borders and getting into the country and actually abusing the resources of this country that are paid by hardworking taxpayers. We are not going to do anything about these people that are running these illegal spaza shops all over the country that are actually making people sick. We are not going to do anything about all of those things. But if you are a South African and you are actually thinking about going to the streets, we are actually going to do something about you. This actually reminds me of, you remember the video that we did a couple of days ago where Ramaphosa actually warned South Africans and said that South Africans must not take the matters into their own hands, because if they take the matters into their own hands, then the law is going to deal with them. And I think all of these things that Ramaphosa is saying, all of these statements that are being released on the internet are actually making people angrier. They are making people feel angry, and people are actually saying that, how is it possible that whenever we try to say something about what is happening in the country, we are actually threatened? Whenever we say we have to go to the streets and actually fight, we are threatened. When people are saying we have to shut down all of these spaza shops that are selling the contaminated food to the communities, and now people are sick, people are being threatened. But these people that are actually committing all of these crimes, there is nothing that has been done about all of these things. There is nothing that has been done about all of these people. So basically yesterday, this is what the South African government has actually said. They said the government has noted the call for the national shutdown on Monday, 9th December 2024, posted on different social media platforms. So they actually acknowledge that this is what people are talking about. They tried to ignore this national shutdown that people are talking about, but it seems like right now they have actually come to acknowledge that, okay, maybe this thing of a national shutdown is a real thing and we must not take it lightly. Maybe this time around these people are going to go to the streets. It actually reminds me of, you remember I made a reference on the previous video about what Mike Shem said. You remember Mike Shem from the State of the Nation, when he said that Ramaphosa has actually beaten South Africans into his submission. Now South Africans are walking by his pace. There are no protests. Ramaphosa is doing a terrible job, but there are no protests. But when Jacob Zuma was the president of the country, people were not scared to actually go out and protest. We would see protest every day on the news, people protesting about something somewhere. But ever since Ramaphosa has become the president of the country, it seems like the morale and that patriotism, the spirit of patriotism is actually out. And he was very concerned about how South Africans are actually responding to the Ramaphosa's administration. But right now, it seems like people are saying that, guys, we cannot allow this to happen anymore. We must actually do something about this administration that is blatantly incompetent. So the South African government says that the government has noted the call for a national shutdown on 9th December 2024, posted on different social media platforms. Calls for the national shutdown are meant to instill fear in the hearts of hard-working, peace-loving South Africans. This is how they are trying to portray it. They are saying that all of these calls about the national shutdown, they are just there to actually instill the fears into the hearts of hard-working, peaceful South Africans. So, and they don't think that these calls are actually legitimate. They don't think that these things that people are talking about, they're actually illegitimate. They don't think that hardworking South Africans are actually sick and tired of this administration too. They don't think that if you are a hardworking South African, you are not sick and tired about what is happening in the country. They seem to think that these calls are actually made by the people that are sitting at home, bored, don't know what to do. So they are saying that we're going to go to a national shutdown. And hardworking South Africans are saying, no, we don't want to go on a national shutdown. They are so out of touch with the reality. They are completely out of touch with their reality. So the second tweet says that, as South African government, we will not tolerate the acts of violence and intimidation that undermine our effort to ensure the country's stability. As the South African government, we will not tolerate the acts of violence and intimidation that undermines the effort to ensure the country's stability. The South African government says this to South African people. But the South African government is not saying all of these things to the people that are actually committing the crimes. Can you just imagine how beautiful it would be if the South African government would actually say that we will not allow the acts of violence and crime that actually undermine our efforts to ensure the country's stability. So we are going to be tough on crime. This is not what they are saying. They are saying that it is okay for all of these things that are happening in the country to continue happening. But you, as a South African, you must actually sit there and say nothing and shut your mouth. This is basically what they are saying. This is basically what they are saying. So these are threats by South African government to the citizens. Instead of actually fixing the issues that the people are actually complaining about, they are threatening the people. If the people actually want to do something about all of these issues that are actually making their lives impossible. This is how your government actually reacts. They are saying we are not going to allow violence and intimidation. And guys, let's be fair, just because it is a shutdown, it doesn't mean that there's going to be violence, there's going to be intimidation, people are going to ban things. But they are simply trying to portray it as if you people try to talk about the national shutdown, we know that you're gonna commit crimes, there's gonna be violence, there's gonna be intimidation. So they are basically trying to, they are literally trying to make it look like people, they don't know what the hell they are talking about. So they say that any effort to infringe on the citizens' rights and free movement on the 9th December 2024, or to block the access or vandalize or destroy property will face the full might of the law. Any effort to infringe on the citizens' right and free movement on the 9th December 2024, or to block access or vandalize or destroy property will face the full might of the law. You will face the full might of the law. You, as a South African, you will face the full might of the law. You must sit there and shut your mouth, because everything that is happening, it is supposed to happen. You are not going to say anything, or you are not going to do anything about all of these things that are happening. And if you dare try to do something, you will face the full might of the law. This is what the government is actually saying to the people. This is absolutely unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Instead of saying that, okay guys, we understand that you guys are actually frustrated about all of these things that are happening in the country. How about we actually have a dialogue about where South Africa is, or everything that is happening in the country? No, they are threatening you. They are threatening you as a South African, and they are already trying to say that you are a barbarian. You are going to go out and commit crimes and act violently and intimidate people and vandalize property. They are saying people are barbarians, and this is what people are going to do. And if these people actually do what we actually think they are going to do, they are going to face the full might of the law. This is so sad, man. This is so sad. And look at the poster below. It says that the government will not tolerate lawlessness. They are not going to tolerate lawlessness. So basically they are getting the police ready. You can see that this picture and the caption of the picture saying that the government will not allow or tolerate lawlessness. They are going to unleash the police on the people. They are going to unleash the police on the people, and they are going to make sure that the police are putting you in line. And the police, the same police that is basically, like, it is impossible for the police to actually do its work. They cannot do their jobs. People are feeling unsafe. It doesn't matter that we have the police. It doesn't matter that we have this big institution that is called the South African Police Service. South Africans are feeling unsafe. But if South Africans try to say anything, this institution, it is going to be used by the government to actually put you in line. This is basically what the administration of Ramaphosa is saying. It says that government services and businesses will continue as usual. The government urges public servants to conduct themselves in line with the Constitution, the Code of Conduct, and the Public Service Charter, and provide public services. As the government, we will not tolerate any acts of violence and intimidation that undermine our efforts to ensure the country's stability. They are so strong when they speak with South Africans. They are so strong when they speak to South Africans. But when South Africans are saying, please try to address these issues, the South African government, it is so strong when they speak to South Africans, instead of actually doing something about these issues that people are crying about. So South Africans are sick and tired of Ramaphosa. And I don't think all of these statements are actually going to do anything. The people are sick and tired of Ramaphosa. They are sick and tired of we are sick and tired of Ramaphosa. We are. The man is out of touch. The man is completely out of touch. And this is actually what actually makes South Africans more angry. South Africans are sick and tired of Ramaphosa. And this is the truth. There is nothing that the South African government can actually say on the internet that is going to make people feel otherwise. The people are sick and tired of Ramaphosa. The people are sick and tired of Ramaphosa actually allowing our country to deteriorate while he's sitting there and laughing and acting like everything is okay. People are sick and tired of Ramaphosa. People are sick and tired of Ramaphosa. So even the likes of Fikile Mbalula, they are warning the people that, guys, they are warning the people to say that, guys, please do not try to do all of these things that you are talking about. So I'm showing you all of these things because the people in the government, the higher ups, they are actually aware of what the people on the ground are actually feeling. They are aware of what the people on the ground they are feeling. The people are getting dirty water. The electricity is expensive. It is not safe. The infrastructure is messed up. The education system is messed up. Our hospitals are a nonsense. Our municipalities, people cannot even get the services from the municipalities. The townships have turned into the illegal dumpings. The sewages are all over the place. And they are actually expecting the people not to say anything or not to do anything about all of those things. Now that people are trying to say that, guys, no, let's wait a minute. What the hell is actually happening? What the hell is actually happening? We actually need to do something about it. They are coming out full force to threaten you as an average South African. So Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the ANC, says that on the so-called national shutdown, we dismiss the so-called national shutdown as nothing more than a failed attempt to sow chaos. These opportunistic have no plan for building South Africa but only distraction. The Secretary General of the ANC, just imagine the whole ANC says that the people that are talking about the national shutdown are just the opportunistic who have no plan of building South Africans but only distractions. To me, it sounds like Fikile Mbalula is actually talking about the ANC. It sounds like Fikile Mbalula is talking about the ANC. Because what is the plan of the ANC to actually build South Africa? The ANC has had 30 years running this country alone. Has the ANC actually built this country or destroyed this country? Guys, it is hot outside. Jeez. Has the ANC destroyed this country or actually built this country? So how can the whole ANC, the ANC themselves, the people who have just lost the elections, because people are sick and tired of their inept and incompetence, they come out to say that the people that are talking about national shutdown, they are just the opportunists who have no plan for building South Africa but only distraction. So according to Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the ANC, everything is still alright. Everything is still alright. And if you are a frustrated South African that is actually thinking about going to the street to protest for this government to actually do something about all of these things that are happening in the country, you are just an opportunistic who has no plan for building South Africa but only distraction, because the ANC has been doing a wonderful job. They have been doing a magnificent job building this country and not destroying this country. So he says that to our people, we say reject these distractions and remain focused on building our communities and creating opportunities for all. Man, it is so hard to actually take these people seriously. It is so hard to listen to the likes of Fikile Mbalula, Because what these people are saying, like, it just shows you how out of touch these people are. It just shows you how out of touch these people are. Just imagine, to our people, we say reject these distractions and remain focused on rebuilding our communities and creating opportunities for all. So has the ANC created those opportunities that Fikile Mbalula is talking about? If the ANC had created these opportunities that he's talking about, we wouldn't be the first country when it comes to the unemployment rate. South Africa is number one when it comes to having people who are unemployed. But the Secretary General of the ANC, the same party that has been governing this country for the past 30 years, is talking about creating opportunities for all. The companies left under the ANC. The companies left under the ANC. The load shedding destroyed people's lives. They have destroyed the small businesses under the ANC. But Fikile Mbalula has the audacity to talk about creating opportunities for all. How is it possible? How is it possible that these people, man, who have actually failed to create South Africa that actually attracts business, they have failed to create a country that is actually attracting the business. If anything, they have created a country that actually gets rid of business. They've created a country that gets rid of business. This is why every day when you read the news, people are being let go somewhere. They are layoffs all over the country, people losing their livelihoods, and all of these things happened under the ANC. But they are talking about creating opportunities for all. Which opportunities? Which opportunities? Which opportunities? Then he further goes on to say that Cyril Ramaphosa is a product of democracy. So the people that are talking about the national shutdown should actually not be taken seriously. Just listen to these people, man. It is so strange how these people are not even acknowledging why people are talking about the national shutdown from the beginning. They are not even acknowledging that. They are not even acknowledging that. They are just addressing these people to say that, no, do not even think about it. And they are discrediting what people are talking about. They are just discrediting these talks about the national shutdown. And if these people were actually genuine, these people would actually try to understand why would South Africans actually talk about the national shutdown. Even if the shutdown does not happen on Monday, fine. But why are South Africans talking about the national shutdown? You would think the leaders of the country would actually go down to the communities to understand why the people are talking about the shutdown to begin with. You would think these people would go on the internet and actually get to understand why South Africans are talking about the national shutdown to begin with. Not before they even go to the streets. Just simply try to understand why people are talking about the national shutdown. But no, they are not doing that. They are simply trying to discredit these talks about the national shutdown, meaning that they don't want to hear anything about the plight of South Africans. They don't want average South Africans expressing their opinions. They don't want to hear average South Africans expressing their voices. If you are an average South African, you must not say anything about the issues that you are facing. You must not say anything about the issues that your communities are facing, because if you dare say that, you are just an opportunistic who does not want to build South Africa. You are just an opportunistic who does not want to see people having equal opportunities. This is according to the ANC. This is according to the ANC. I mean, like, what kind of leaders are these? What kind of leaders are these? Why is it so hard for these people to say that, guys, we hear that you are not happy. Can we have a dialogue? Why are you people not happy? And if people say that, no, Ramaphosa is failing to do this or Ramaphosa is failing to do that, then the ANC can say, no, guys, we understand that you are expecting things to move faster, but in the government, this is how things work, and this is the work that Ramaphosa has actually done to actually ensure that your life is actually bettered. They do not want to have these frank conversations with the people. They do not want to have these debates with the people. But if anything, they want to discredit everything that people are talking about. Your feelings as an average South African are not valid according to Fikile Mbalula. According to Cyril Ramaphosa, according to the South African government, your feelings are not valid, because if you say anything about whatever that is happening in the country, you are just an opportunistic who does not want to see this country being built. You just want to destroy this country. You don't want to see everybody having equal opportunities. Why would the people in government actually respond like this? Why would you respond like this? Why? Why? To me, it doesn't make any sense. I don't wanna lie. It doesn't make any sense. Why would anybody actually react like this? Especially if you are in government. You are in government because you said you are going to listen to the people. You said you are going to listen to the cries of the people. And now people are crying and even threatening to go to the streets. Instead of just saying that, guys, can you have a dialogue about this possible national shutdown that you guys are talking about? No, we are going to threaten you and we are going to discredit you. This is a pathetic response to average South Africans. This is a pathetic response to people who actually have valid reasons why they are talking about a national shutdown to begin with. This simply shows that they are not interested to listen to you. They don't want to hear anything coming from you. Like I said in the video when it began, as an average South African, you must just sit down and obey. Sit down, obey, say nothing. Ramaphosa is doing a wonderful job. And if you keep saying that Ramaphosa is not doing a wonderful job, then you are an opportunistic. I mean, you remember even with that issue of children dying. How many times people actually begged Ramaphosa to go on stage to simply acknowledge that this is what is happening in the country. The people literally had to beg the president for him to go on stage to actually acknowledge that this is actually what is happening. And the president got there and said that according to our investigations, there is no evidence that these people that are selling contaminated food, they have no plan. I'm just paraphrasing. According to our investigations, there is no plan for these people to actually harm South Africans. There is no plan from these people to actually kill South African kids. 2 days, literally 2 days after Ramaphosa said that, in KZN, there were what are these warehouses? Warehouses were actually discovered in KZN, full of expired food, full of contaminated food. And the president of the country literally said that there is no plan to actually hurt South Africans. There is no plan to hurt South Africans. There is no plan to kill South African kids. 3 warehouses were found in KZN, full of expired food, full of contaminated food. And clearly this food is making its way to the spaza shops. So how can the president stand there and tell South Africans that what you are feeling, it is not valid? We know that you are talking about children dying after going to this shop and buying the snacks there. But we have conducted the investigations, and according to our investigations, these people who are running these shops that are not registered have no plan of killing or harming South Africans. And the likes of Fikile Mbalula are shocked that today people are talking about national shutdown. They're shocked. They're shocked. How can South Africans talk about national shutdown? But all of these things are happening right in the face of South Africans. They are happening right in our faces. They are happening right in front of our faces. Just listen to Fikile Mbalula.
Comrade Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, remain our president and will be defended. The people shall come, and the people have spoken. Ramaphosa.
And now the people are speaking. And now the people are speaking. Why are you not acknowledging the people that are not happy about Ramaphosa? We are simply going to acknowledge the few people that are happy about Ramaphosa. Why are you not saying anything about the people that are not happy about Ramaphosa? Because their concerns are very valid.
Shall come, and the people have spoken. Ramaphosa is a product of a democratic process and leading the African National Congress. We know the attack on President Ramaphosa is the attack on our nation, is an attack on the African National Congress. We are not like any other country. We are a democratic country. Our people, in terms of their rights, even to differ with government, are enshrined in the Constitution.
We are a democratic country, but people are not allowed to protest, according to Fikile Mbalula. We are a democratic country, but people are not allowed to protest. We are a democratic country when it comes to protecting Ramaphosa, but we are not a democratic country when it comes to protesting against Ramaphosa. Do these people actually listen to themselves when they go on national television and say all of these things? Do they sit down and say that, do I make sense? Do I make sense? Am I making sense? Am I making sense as an individual? Am I making sense? Because if you're going to say that we are a democratic country, then we are a democratic country and people are allowed to protest. People are allowed to express their opinions. People are allowed to say that we are not happy about what is happening. People are allowed to do that. We are not just a democratic country to protect the elites. We are also a democratic country for the people for actually allowing the people to go out on the streets to protest. We are.
Those who seek to devour these principles in one way or the other are not democrats. They are anarchists. We have seen them before, and we are noting them now. And we equally call upon the state to be decisive. Not like before, when they cost this country millions of rands and affected the progress of building this fragile economy. It has happened before. More than 400 people died. More than 400 people died in this country. The law must take its course. Should any anarchist seek to devour the principles of a democratic process.
So you did nothing about those people that were actually dying in KZN because you wanted to play politics and try to make it look like, just look at Jacob Zuma. People are dying on behalf of Jacob Zuma, and we as the state, we are not going to do anything about it. You failed, or you didn't want to do anything about that because you simply tried to play politics. You simply tried to play politics, and now people are talking about your dear Ramaphosa, and oh, please, you must not even say anything about our dear and precious Ramaphosa. If you do anything to Ramaphosa, then we're gonna go out and show you what we are about. We're gonna show you what we are about. So this is an advice to the ANC government. Don't do this. Listen to the people. Acknowledge what people are talking about. Take people's feelings very seriously. People's concerns are valid. Because if you are going to take this route, then there is going to be a mess in the country. And this is normally how the shutdown start. They start very slightly. But if you are going to unleash the police to the people without even listening to the people, then you are making a big mistake because you are not going to win. You are not going to win. Guys, you just remember what happened in Kenya. You remember what happened in Kenya? Ruto thought that, okay, we have the police, we have the military, we can actually stop the people. But he actually found out the hard way that you cannot win against the people. So the ANC government must be very careful. And tread very carefully. If you don't want to see this national shutdown happen, then start listening to the people. Communicate with the people instead of threatening the people and discrediting the people and naming people with everything that you can think of. Stop saying that people are anarchists, people are opportunistic. Don't say that, because things like these, they start very slowly. But if this is a response that the people are going to get from the government, the ANC, you are going to regret. We don't have the police in this country. We don't have the police in the country. We don't even have 200,000 policemen and women. There are 60 million people in this country. And you think 180,000 people can actually stop millions and millions of people going to the streets? You are going to learn the hard way. Listen to the people. This is not what you want to do. You do not want to threaten the people, because the more you threaten the people, the more you give them the courage to go to the streets. I cannot believe that I'm sitting here on my small YouTube channel actually trying to give these people advices. They should actually pay me for actually giving them these advices. Do not do this. Do not threaten the people. There is nothing that the people actually hate more than the threats coming from the government, especially when the people are talking about the things that are affecting them personally. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. If you dare do this, you are going to learn the hard way. You are going to learn the hard way, and you will not win against the people. You will not unleash the people or unleash the police and the military to the people until the people are silent. The people are not going to be silent. The people are not going to be silent. You are the people that always talk about apartheid and how average South Africans actually fought against the brutal regime of apartheid. So if you think about it, South Africans actually defeated that horrible system back in the days. So what actually makes you think that your system can actually defeat the people? If you talk about how resilient South Africans are, from all races coming together and saying that we have to stop this apartheid regime because this apartheid regime cannot work for us, what actually makes you think that your regime can actually stop the people? Just think about it. Just think about it. I know, maybe possibly on Monday, chances of a national shutdown starting, I don't know, maybe very small. But the response that is coming from the government is actually going to encourage the people to go to the streets. If you are going to threaten the people, then the people are going to go to the streets. You will meet the people in the streets. And the people will actually show you what they are about. Because after all, South Africans are frustrated. Do not take South Africans' feelings very lightly, because the people are frustrated. First of all, you have millions and millions of young people that are not working. And these millions and millions of people that are not working, they are actually blaming you for actually turning this country into a shithole. They are blaming you for turning this country into a shithole. So you have millions of young people, active young people, healthy young people, who are very angry about everything that is happening in the country right now. You have families that are the victims of crime in this country, and these people are actually frustrated. You have the people that have buried their children because of these spaza shops. You have the people that have buried their children because their children have died in the pit toilets that were supposed to be eradicated a long time ago. You have the people that are not happy about the kind of education that their children are getting. So you have a very big nation that is very frustrated and that is looking for ways to actually unleash hell on you. So if you are a government and you are going to issue out threats to these people, you will have yourself to blame. You will have yourself to blame. You will have yourself to blame. This is what people are talking about. And please, do not take it lightly. Guys, please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.